good morning. Today's Spine Safe Mat class will be using our friend the roller, and we'll be using some hand weights. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just place the roller down at the end of your mat lengthwise, and then have your hand weights in a place that you can access them easily. And we are going to go ahead and start on our backs, and the roller is going to end up under the bend of your knee. So we'll go to our side, roll to our backs, okay? And then just carefully lengthen the back of your neck. Okay, so especially if you feel like you're kind of gazing overhead, that indicates that you could be back bending your neck a little bit too much. So if you're very kyphotic here in the upper shoulders, you might need a pillow. So the roller is underneath the bend of the knees, and we'll take our dumbbells in our hands and just set your shoulder blades down on the mat and bring your arms up toward the ceiling. And then from here, just staying comfortable in the lower body, not efforting at all here. Just reach up toward the ceiling and then pull your shoulder blades down. So we'll do this about 6 times, and just reach up as much as you can. You feel your shoulder blades slide toward the ceiling, and then slide your shoulder blades back down on the mat, keeping your back nice and broad. So we want to have a nice amount of contact with the mat here. And 2 more, please. And we're just breathing. And then 1 more. And just breathing. Okay, good. And so we'll take our weights now and bring them a little bit closer to each other and round your elbows. So now we have a nice rounded arm. So it's a first position if you are familiar with Pilates, parlance or ballet terminology. We'll open our arms out to the sides. Breathe in. Don't quite let your upper arms touch the mat. And then exhale and bring them together. So just a really gentle wake up for the chest and shoulder muscles. And we begin working on synchronizing our breath with our movement. Inhaling out, exhaling in. Inhaling out, exhaling in. Beautiful. And we'll just do about 4 more here. So I guess the number 6 is our number for today. So kind of laughing at myself, having flashbacks to my kids watching Sesame Street, or maybe it was my brother. It's a long time ago. Last one. Good. So then let's go ahead and bring our thighs and ankles together and give our thighs a little squeeze. Okay, and then from there, pull up your pelvic floor, keeping your hips down on the mat, and bring your zipper line into the picture. So connect with between pubic bone, navel, and sternum, and see if you can zip up your abdomen. Now, only bring your right arm out to the side and try to keep your knees and body stable, and then bring that arm back. So let's do the right arm again 5 more times. And as we bring the right arm out, the weight causes our body to want to roll to that side. So what we'll do with our abdominal and thigh muscles is resist that temptation, and we'll begin to feel from the right rib cage down to the left inner hip bone, and then the right inner thigh, working together, kind of like a zigzag, to keep us steady on the mat. Okay, good. And so then we'll switch to the left arm. Do the same thing about 6 times. Bring the left arm out to the side and then back to center, and just kind of, go a nice, easy, slower pace so that you can feel what's happening in your body from the left rib cage to the right low ab to the left inner thigh, resisting that impulse to roll with the weight. Okay, and 2 and 1. Beautiful job. And then we'll go ahead and let's keep the weights up toward the ceiling and see if you can reach the roller with your feet. Place your feet on top of the roller. Good. So now bring your arms down to touch your thighs. So you still have the dumbbells, that's fine. And just for a moment, keep your thighs in place. reach your arms long, draw your shoulder blades down, pull your navel in, and just push your arms, your hands on your thighs, and count to 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you do this and release and bring your arms back up again, I'm hoping that you feel an isometric contraction happening in your abdomen. And then we'll do that again. This is what I call iso abs. This is from my book, right? The new book, Safe Movement for All Spines. And this is a really effective and gentle warm up for the deep core. And bring your arms back up. It's also nice for people who have, you know, a little back discomfort, some back pain, to focus more energy on the front line and start closing that pain gate. And we'll bring our arms back up again. And one more time. And just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Beautiful job. Okay, now let's place the weights down, and we'll place our arms down beside us and just walk your shoulder blades underneath you a bit. Okay, still keeping a nice broad back, so we don't want them pinched together in the back at all. Take a breath, exhale, pull into belly, pull up your pelvic floor, and then engage your buttocks to lift your hips. Now, if you have bone density loss, please just lift high enough just to slide your hand underneath your buttocks. If you do not have bone density loss, you can safely lift much higher and still keep your shoulder blades on the mat. So then we'll go ahead and lower down almost to touching, but not resting, and then pick our hips up again. And we'll do 6. So this is 2, and we'll be lifting to an appropriate height, and 3. And just try to make sure that as you lower down and you touch the back of your shirt or pants on the mat without resting down, that you feel like you're lowering down evenly, right? So just kind of see if you can get a sense of how evenly you're lowering down. And then we'll go ahead and lower all the way down, and we'll take our left leg in both hands, clasp your hands together and pull your thigh in. Dorsiflex your foot like you're going to stand on something, and then press your leg up toward the ceiling. And then we'll bend, pull your knee in, pull your thigh in, and then press. So this is an active release stretch for the hamstring. We were just working our hamstrings and our glutes in our bottom lift or our bridge. Good. And we'll just do 2 more of those active presses toward the ceiling. And last one. Perfect job. Release that leg, put your foot back on the roller, and then bring your thigh in. And then we'll press and bend. So active foot here, active arms, hands are clasped together, and we're just pressing our leg into our hands. And your goal is to get your knee straight. Okay, so I know those of us that have really tight hamstrings, that's always the challenge, isn't it? So, but if we move actively, we're using our body's own reflexes to stretch these muscles that we're working on. And that was nice. Okay, good. So now let's go ahead and bring our arms down to the mat. You can press down, palms down or palms up. Okay, it's up to you. Your soles of your feet are on the roller again. Back of the neck is nice and long. Zip up, pull up your pelvic floor, and lift your hips to an appropriate height. So this will be lower for osteopenia or porosis, higher if you do not have that going on. Okay, so everything is engaged, and we're going to just see about shifting our weight from one side to the other. Now do your best to feel as if you're shifting without the hip dropping. So this is just a lateral shift, lateral shift. Okay, good. One more on each side. And then let's go ahead. Next time we shift over, drop the other hip down and let it rotate toward the ground, and then de-rotate the hip, shift, drop the other hip down. So this is a little hip dip. I always think this is kind of reminds me of, you know, being maybe a much younger person and you know, how I might walk differently as a younger person, you know, like my 16-year-old girl walk, right? So, and we'll do one more on each side. Very good. And we'll go ahead and straighten out our pelvis And then come on down one vertebra at a time and see how long you can get your spine. Beautiful job. Okay. So now let's take our left leg in both hands. And this time, stretch your leg up toward the ceiling and don't clasp your hands. Those of us who do not have bone density loss, you need to nod your chin and come on up into an upper body lift. If you have bone density loss, keep your head down. Everybody extends the other leg. We don't go lower than the roller, right? And then switch the leg you're holding. Okay, so we have single long leg stretch here. And it's lovely, and we can style it. We can do a little pulse as we're holding one leg and then the other. We're switching and breathing and just enjoying our process here. So we want to use our leg and our hands to deepen the work of the abdominals in our bodies. Good. So we'll do one more on each side. Perfect. And then bring your knees in. If your head is lifted, go ahead and lower it down. And let's take one knee in each hand and take your knees around in mirror image circles. And just start working some synovial fluid into our hip joints. It's kind of neat that we can lubricate our own joints. I think that's a very cool, you know, kind of like the Tin Man in Wizard of Oz, right? Only, you know, this is the real deal. We don't need an external source. We've got it all inside, all built in, pretty miraculous. And we'll hug our knees in to our chest. Okay, good. So now let's bring our feet back down to the roller. And from here, just keep your hips down for a moment and just roll the roller back and forth along the bottoms of your feet. You just kind of press down into the roller and feel how you can massage the bottom of your feet, our famous or infamous plantar fascia, right? So go all the way up to the backs of your heels and just see how that is. It's a really gentle way of doing a little myofascial work on the bottoms of our feet. And then we'll bring the roller in as close as we can to our bum and make sure that your neck is long. Take a breath, zip up your core, and then lift up your hips to an appropriate height. And then we're going to roll the roller back and forth, only now we're lifted, so we won't go quite as far with the roller. Just go onto the bottoms of your feet, and you can feel a very special place of your hamstring working here. I know it can feel a little intense. It's good for us. We want to make sure that our knees are happy here. So if you do have any kind of a circle around the knee that just feels real uncomfortable, just go ahead and lower down your hips and press hard and roll the roller back and forth. Okay. All right. So one more, and we'll lower our hips down. And again, take the left leg in both hands and give it a stretch for a moment. So this time, just bring your leg in, keep your elbows rounded, and just give her a little stretch. You can do some ankle rotations here and see if there's any place on the lower leg that feels like it needs some extra love. Good. And let's go ahead and go to the other side. Give that one a stretch too, and just hold it steady, breathing, and go ahead and do your ankle rotations. One more breath here. Perfect. All right then. So now let's go ahead and come back up to our feet on the roller. Head is nice and long. Neck is nice and long. And lift up your hips. So now let's bring our legs a little closer together. Shift your weight to your left leg, lift and lower the right. Shift your weight to your right leg, lift and lower the left. Shift to the left, lift and lower, shift to the right, lift and lower. Good. Now, if you would like to do a little bit more of a challenge here, shift to the left, lift the right leg, extend it long, and then lower it 3 times. Tap the roller. 1 and 2 and 3. Bend your knee, put your foot down, shift to the right, lift the left, extend it long, tap the roller 3 times. 1 and 2 and 3. Good. Bend your knee, put your foot down, Center your weight in your body and roll down, lengthening your spine. That was lovely. Okay, so now let's go ahead and bring our dumbbells back into the picture. Bring your arms up with holding onto your hand weights. Good. And we can bring your right leg up to tabletop. And I'm just leaving my left foot sitting on the roller because it's just comfortable. If you want to be on the floor, you can here. And then we'll go ahead and extend our right leg and our left arm and make sure that the left arm only goes as far as your cheekbone and the right leg does not go as low as the roller. And then bring your limbs back. Good. And we'll reach, breathe, bring the limbs back. Good. And reach and breathe. And this time when you bring the limbs back, go ahead and press your hand on the inner line of your right leg. And then extend and reach and press your hand on the inner line of the leg. Good. And again, reach and press. Good. Let's do one more. Reach and press. Good. We'll change sides. So left leg is up, right arm reaches just to your cheekbone height, left leg not as low as the roller, and come back. And reach and come back. And breathe and exhale. And this time we'll add on the press. Reach and press. And reach and press. Nice. Reach and press. Let's do one more. And press. Beautiful job. Okay. Let's bring our arms down. Just roll your feet on the roller one more time and just get a little bit of a little bit more foot massage here. And then we'll just let our roller kind of slide away from us for a moment. Beautiful. Okay. Now from here, we'll go ahead and bring both arms up. And then you can bring one or both legs up to tabletop. Okay, so one leg, we can just have the other leg bent and on the floor. If both legs, let's have both knees in over the abdomen. So we have a little bit of a deeper hip flexion and a deeper scoop. And then we'll bring one leg long and both arms overhead and come back. And if you've got one leg on the floor, just keep doing repetitions of that one leg. If you've got both feet in tabletop, alternate legs. So we'll do 10. So people who are working with one leg on the floor, you'll do 5 and then switch legs. Okay, keep breathing. And 3 and 3. So we'll keep breathing here and keep your rib cage and your hips connected, and look with your body to see that your back is staying the same distance from the floor. Okay, and then we'll add on here. So the next time you reach, instead of bringing your arms straight around, circle them as your leg comes back in, and reach and circle your arms. Good. And circle your arms. Reach and circle. And then last set here, a couple of times more. We'll give a challenge if you wish. If you're in tabletop, extend both legs. Bring your arms around in a circle. Extend both arms around in a circle. Last one. Beautiful. And then we'll go ahead and place our weights down. Hold both knees into your chest. Take your knees around in a circle, all the way around the sacrum. And just keep breathing. So now you're allowing your body to rock a little bit, and that's totally fine. This is like a massage for the lowest part of your back. Let's go the other direction. Keep breathing. Perfect. And then we'll bring our legs down. Slide your legs out long and bring your arms overhead and just give yourself a lovely stretch here. So take a breath and then take another breath. And then we'll bring our arms back down to the mat Good. And then dorsiflex, like you're standing on the floor. So dorsiflex your left foot, bring your right leg in, and bring your leg up toward the ceiling. If this feels like it's too much for your back, you can bend the floor leg, okay? And then we'll begin our small circles. So bring your right leg down the center, and then carefully bring it out in a curve toward the outside of your mat and then back up. So we're making a capital letter D right now with the right leg. The left leg is pressing into the floor. You can always cue your hips here too by placing your hands on your hips and feel how stable you're able to maintain your body and your hips, your pelvis, using your abdominals. Good. So one more this direction. And then we'll go the other direction. So we curve to the outside, look to your left low ab to stabilize your body and come up the center. And curve to the outside and come up the center. So this variation, a smaller variation of our single leg circles, making the letter D, this is safe for pretty much all hip replacements. I don't know of any hip replacement that this would be contraindicated for. We have so many choices now. We'll do one more this direction of hip replacements, that is, right? So let's go ahead and just hug your knee in. Just take a moment. Take that same right knee in your right hand and just stir the knee around. So you're stirring the femur bone in the hip socket. And just go the other direction. So our posterior approach hip replacements are contraindicated from crossing midline. So this is why we make the letter D. So it'll be safe for everybody. And we'll switch legs. So let's go ahead and slide the right leg long, or you can leave it bent if that's more comfortable for your back. Bring your left leg up, extend it toward the ceiling, and then bring your leg down in a straight line and then out to the width of your mat and curve it up. So we make this mirror image letter D now. Up, and the floor leg is actively pressing into the mat. And again, you can use your fingertips on your pelvis to feel how the right low ab now has to work to counterbalance and stabilize the movement of the left leg. Good, one more this direction. And we'll go the other way. Okay, just keep moving with your breath. Pulling up into your pelvic floor, pulling into your abdominals. And remember to give yourself a little smile. And 2, and 1. Perfect job, everybody. Let's go ahead and bring your knee in. Hold on to your knee with your left hand and then move that knee around so that you're stirring your femur bone in the hip socket. We'll go the other direction. Perfect. And let's go ahead and come back down to the mat. Straighten both legs out long. Bring both arms overhead and take 2 breaths here and just stretch as long as you can in your entire body from your fingertips through your heel bones. And we'll bring our arms back down. Bring our legs back in. Draw your shoulders down. Lengthen the back of the neck. Yeah. And let's take our dumbbells again. Okay. Because we're having too much fun to stop now, right? Okay, so you can choose feet down or both legs up in a closed tabletop. All right, good. And then we're going to go ahead and just punch one arm toward the ceiling and bring it down, and punch the other arm toward the ceiling and bring it down. Now, if your feet are down, when you punch, bring your opposite knee up, and then, right, so you're doing a cross crawl pattern here. So this would be your option if you decided you wanted to keep your feet down. If your legs are up, then you're extending the leg that is on the same side of the punching arm. So you're always kind of punching in this cross pattern toward the bent leg side. Okay, so you're crossing midline a little bit with your dumbbells. Good. So this is some fun that we can have. I would just combine the classic Joseph Pilates exercise called punching with a little crisscross pattern. Okay, so keep breathing, and let's just do one more on each side. Notice how solid you're able to stay on the mat with your back body. And then we'll go ahead and come on in, and let's take our knees around in circles a couple times in each direction. And bring your feet down, bring your ankles and thighs together, open your arms out wide, and take your knees over to one side. So let your legs stay together so they can act as a weight to stretch your opposite chest. And then you can gaze toward the open palm of the hand on the side you're rotating away from, right? So if my knees are rotated to the right, I'm gazing to my left. And just breathe. Keep both shoulder blades down on the mat. Another breath. And then on your exhale, pull into belly and come back through center. And let's take our knees off to the opposite side. And we'll get our lovely rotation stretch on the new side. And just keep breathing. And exhale, come back to center, bring your arms back in beside you. And then we're going to go ahead and just go over to our side. So bring your dumbbells around front with you. And we'll lay our head down on our bottom arm. And we are going to organize ourselves so we're from the crown of the head to the tailbone to the back of the mat. And straighten your legs and then bring your legs toward the front of the mat. So you're a little bit hinged at your hip joint, okay? And we'll be using one dumbbell, and we'll have our palm facing forward, and we'll bring our arm up over our shoulders. So we've got our palm, our dumbbell is right over our armpit, okay? Flex your bottom foot, pull into your belly, lift your sideways, lift your top leg, okay? Great. Now just go ahead and bring your top leg back, and then bring it forward. And since you don't have the support of your arm on the mat, you are going to need to make your movement smaller, most likely. Now, dorsiflex your foot forward and point your toe back. So your foot is flat forward, pointed back, and you're breathing. Inhale forward, exhale back. Good. So it's very controlled, and if you keep pushing your bottom leg down to the mat, you can really feel how the body has to work together to keep your torso stable here. Let's go ahead and do one more forward, one more back, and then rest your leg down and rest your arm down. So from here with the arm down, draw your shoulder blade down your back, lift up your side waist. And then we'll point the toes of the top leg up toward the ceiling. And then begin to move your top leg, like trace up the center line of your bottom leg. And when you've gone as far as you can, extend it, flex your foot, and lead down with your heel, okay? So we'll do forward each direction. Just be mindful, sometimes in these long-legged exercises, if you feel anything happening in your hip, like any kind of popping or thunking or whatever, right? So make your movement a little smaller if that's your case, and you might need to change your range of motion as far as how far you extend your knee. Okay, good. So let's go the other direction. So we lift our leg, point our toe, bend our knee, and trace down the center line of the leg. And lift the leg, bend the knee, point the toe, and trace down the center line. So we keep adjusting our shoulders down. Keep smiling, keep breathing. Good, one more. Perfect job, and we'll just let that rest. Take a moment. And then bring your dumbbell back up over your armpit, draw your shoulder blade down, lift your side waist, and bring your leg up to hip height. And then from here, we'll do 5 circles in each direction. So we take them small, make them count, right? So we're looking for our body to be stable in these movements. 5, good. And the subtle movement of your arm and your hand holding that weight, that's your rotator cuff working. So we're indirectly working on our rotator cuff too, because that's what has to stabilize your arm while you're holding the weight above your armpit. Last one. Okay, that was fun. Now let's give ourselves a little love in the hip, and then we'll go ahead and roll over onto our belly. So if you have any discomfort laying on your stomach because your back doesn't like to bend that direction, go ahead and put a pillow underneath your abdomen. We'll be using our dumbbells here. So we'll go ahead and take our weights in our hands and then look down towards your mat, keeping your head retracted. So your back of your neck is long, okay? And then we'll go ahead and bring our weights up and roll your shoulders back and down. If this feels like too much, we are fighting gravity here. You can just do this without weights, okay? So now what we'll do here is a kind of an upside down snow angel. So we'll bring our arms out to the side, just to shoulder height, and then bring them back towards your hips. So the hips are not really your goal, because if you really were to reach your hips, you'd have to bend your elbows, right? So it's not important to touch your hands to your hips. What's important is that we keep our arms nice and long. Your palms are facing the floor, and we're just doing this kind of face down snow angel. And I'm sure that you can feel this in the back of your shoulder and your triceps and your abdominals and your glutes, because everything is working and we're lifted. And we'll do one more. Very nice. Okay, so that was fun. Let's go ahead and just press back, okay? And then walk your knees forward and wide, and your toes are together, and we'll sit our hips back in a wide-legged child's pose. We can stack our fists on top of each other and place our foreheads on our fists to keep our spine neutral. And make sure that we're keeping the back of the neck long as well. Take a couple of breaths here. Good. And then we'll come up to all fours. That's right. Pull your shoulders down. Exhale, pull belly in and arch your back up gently for cat. And inhale, just allow our shoulders to slide down as we bring our tailbone up toward the ceiling for cow. Exhale and inhale. And I never understood why this cow pose was called cow until I understood that where the name of the pose comes from, right? In India, the cows get quite old because they're not eaten. They're like members of the community and respected and loved. And so they get quite old. And when a cow gets old, its back sags. Let's do one more. Exhale and inhale. Perfect job. So now we'll go ahead and lay down on the other side. So again, we're organizing our body so that we've got crown of the head through tailbone along the back of the mat. Legs are long, weights are in front of you, ready to work with one of them. And then bring your legs forward to the front corner of the mat. So you organize yourself so that you're just a little bit hinged at the hip. Okay, and we'll take one of the dumbbells. Palm is facing front. The dumbbell lands right over your armpit with your shoulder down your back. So we're stacked in our hips and shoulders, and then we lift up our top leg. Press down with the bottom leg. Bring your top leg forward with your foot flat. Point your toe. Bring your leg back. And we keep breathing. And we're looking for our abdominals to stabilize us. So without having a hand on the mat today, this means that it's quite possible that most of us will need to make our range of motion smaller than we're used to and really work a lot more on our abs. So we'll just keep breathing. Keep smiling. Enjoy the strength that you're building in your body. And last one. And we'll let the leg rest, bring the arm down to rest. So roll your shoulder blade down your back, lift your sideways, and then turn your toes of your top foot up. Keep pressing into the mat with your bottom leg. And then we'll point our toes and trace our toes up the inner line of our leg, extend the leg, dorsiflex the foot, and lower the leg. And again, be mindful if there's any differences in your hips. So we have any kind of popping or clicking, we can make the movement a little smaller. Okay, so it can be a little more controlled, right? So, and there's 4. And let's go the other direction. So we lift the leg, point the toe, bend the knee, and trace down the center line of the leg. Do your best not to roll back in your hips when you're doing this one. So, you know, the stability of the torso is just as important as the movement of the leg. So it's what I love about our Pilates exercises. We're working everything all the time, even our minds. Okay, and we'll rest that leg down and take a breath. Good, bring your dumbbell back up with palm facing the same direction as you are, right over your armpit. Press down with the bottom leg, lift the top leg, and then we'll do 5 circles in each direction. Small ones, look to your abdominals to keep your body stable. And 3, and keep breathing. 4, and 5, good. Other direction, 1, and 2, 3, 4, and 5, good. And we'll rest down. Lovely. Okay, so now let's go ahead and come on up. We'll come up to sitting for a moment. So we can just sit and face front on our mats with our dumbbells by our sides. So I think it's going to be best to have our knees bent today because of what we're doing here. And so we'll do that. We'll have our dumbbells in our hands and place your hands with your dumbbells underneath your legs, underneath the bend of your legs. Now, with that closure here of your hands on your legs, you can use your legs kind of to help you lift up tall and roll your shoulder blades back. Okay, now squeeze your thighs and ankles together, pull up your pelvic floor, and just lean back to where you begin to feel your abdominals working, but your back hasn't changed. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and release our legs if we can do that without our back changing and start on some biceps curls. So let's do about 10 here and just keep pulling your belly in. Keep looking straight ahead. 4 and 5. And so the work really is not so much in the biceps with the light weight. It's really about holding on to your body position with your abdominals. And that's fun. And then we'll go ahead and hold on to the backs of our thighs. Come forward, flat back. Place the soles of your feet together, knees apart, and just hold on to your shins or ankles for a moment and just move your heart forward as if you were going to lengthen your spine. Get a little bit longer spine here and stretch. And one more breath. Good. And then we'll go ahead and bring our legs back into our start position. Pick up your weights again if you set them down. Hold on to the backs of your thighs. Roll your shoulders back, lift your spine. Lift the corners of your mouth and lean back a little bit. Now, go ahead and lift up your right leg. So you're extending your leg and then keep your thighs at the same level. And then go ahead and let go of your arms and let's do some more biceps curls. So let's just do 5 with the leg extended straight out and 4 and 5. Now turn your toes out and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Good. Hold on to the backs of your thighs. Help yourself forward, flat back hinge, and then hold on to your shins or your ankles and lengthen your heart forward. Good. So we're breathing. And we better do the other leg before we lose our nerve, right? So let's go ahead and bring our legs back together. Hold on to the backs of the legs, squeeze your thighs together, find your starting position, your work position. Extend your left leg, your other leg, okay? Toes are straight up toward the ceiling. 5 biceps curls, pulling into belly. 4 and 5, and then turn your toes out. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good, and hug onto your backs of your legs. Lift your heart as you come forward and set the weights down. Well, that was fun. So we'll go ahead now and swing your legs around, grab your roller. So from here, we're going to use the roller as a way to work on our core a little bit more, okay? So we'll be laying down on the roller. So we need to sit on the end. Being very careful about our tailbone. We do not want our tailbone to be receiving any kind of adjustment here. And then if you have osteo, you'll need to be really careful about lowering down with a flat back and using your arms. Okay, so I'm showing you that right now. Okay, and then once you're down, you kind of inchworm yourself to a place where you can be lined up on the roller from head to tail. Okay, so this might involve a little inchworming and maybe some bridging and get yourself organized. Good. So we'll start off with the legs pretty wide, and this is more stable. And let's go ahead and bring your hand weights into your hands and reach your arms up toward the ceiling. And we'll round our elbows, okay, and we'll go into our hug a tree pattern. So we open, inhale. Take care that your arms stay at the level of your side body and not lower. And then exhale and come back and hug a tree. And inhale and exhale. So now if you're feeling really spiffy, you're feeling really stable today, go ahead and start bringing your feet and your knees closer together. But it's no fair just tripoding your thighs together because that's still the same large base of support. So if you feel like you are wanting more stabilization training, then you just keep walking your ankles and feet and thighs together until you feel that you're needing to work a little bit more on staying on top of the roller. Good. And so one more here. Great. And then we'll go ahead and take our single arm hug a tree. So let's start with the left arm and very carefully and slowly bring your left arm out to the side. And so you're going to feel that diagonal recruitment that we talked about earlier in class today. Okay, so left arm out to the side, and then feel from your left rib cage to your right low ab to your left inner thigh working. And stay on the left side for a few repetitions so that you can feel, you can kind of map what's going on in your body. Okay, and 2 and 1. Good, and then we'll go to the right arm out to the side. And so it's going to be mirror image, right? Right rib cage, so left low ab to right inner thigh. And see if you can find that diagonal, that zigzag line, and just draw it really tight, right? Draw it really close and work on staying stable on the roller. Okay. Keep breathing. Good. And as your balance improves, you know, you can always be walking your legs a little closer together until they're completely close together if you're not there already. All right, nice job. Now, over your chest, not your face or neck, bring your hands together so you can hold your hands together, maybe interlace your fingers and hold both dumbbells together as one. Okay, and then we pull our shoulder blades down. Now, take your weights in your hands in a circle over your body. So it's one circle with both weights in your hands over your torso. That's it. Good. And please work over your chest and abdomen and not your face. Good. So that keeps you in a place where you can keep your shoulders down, and it's a little, safety measure, if you will. Okay. So one more in this direction, then we're going to change directions. So you can feel like your body is needing to stabilize in this circle that we're making with the weights. It's almost like your midsection's doing a little bit of a hula, right? So just keep breathing and feel the core recruitment. Right, you feel the weight transfer on the floor, on the roller. Good, last one. Perfect job. And let's go ahead and just bring our arms down and just rest with palms down for a moment on the floor, and we'll get a little bit of a chest stretch here. If you don't feel a chest stretch with your arms right beside you, you can feel welcome to just go ahead and move your arms, upward a little bit, like a T position, or a little higher. That'll get different areas of your chest and shoulder muscles to stretch. Okay. If you feel it with your arms right beside you, just stay there and enjoy. One more breath. Great. So now let's bend our elbows again, and we'll press our arms up toward the ceiling and pull your shoulder blades down. Good. So still with your legs fairly narrow, as close as you can get and still feel safe, right? We'll bring both arms up overhead, so that your bicep is about the level of your cheekbone. And then take your arms out in mirror image letter D, down toward your legs, and then come back up the middle like you're on two railroad tracks. So we're working on the outside width of our body right now. Okay, so your hand weights in your arms do not cross midline now. You're basically doing some little butterfly wings on the outside of your body so that we can keep our collarbones nice and wide. That's it. So one more. Good. And the next time your arms come up over your chest, one arm at a time. One arm raises and circles around, and there's the core again, right? And then once you come back to your start position, the other arm gets a turn. So you do one arm at a time, sort of like a little bit of a backstroke, right? Only it's a very controlled backstroke. That's great. Keep breathing. Doing a good job. Just keep breathing. It's interesting to feel the muscles working that we can't see moving, right? And that's really what we're exploring today, is this idea that so many things are working when we don't, it's not the obvious action that's happening to our eyes, but we can feel in our bodies. There's a very obvious action happening to keep us stable. Let's do one more on each side. Perfect job, everybody. Let's lower your arms down. Good. Now let's set our weights down for a moment in a place that's safe, so that if we were to roll off our roller, we wouldn't be landing on them, because that would not be fun. And take your legs wide, and then cross your arms over your chest so that your elbows are kind of stacked, right? So this opens up the back of the shoulder. Now very carefully, roll to one side of your spine and just roll a few times between the edge of your shoulder blade and your spine. And feel how you're getting into the muscles in between the shoulder blade and the spine, and then also your buttock muscles and maybe the side of the sacrum. Okay, so just do a few, roll back and forth here, and then cross the spine one time, and then we'll go ahead and do the other side from the inside border of your shoulder blade to the spine, but not crossing over the spine. Just roll, 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 and just give those shoulder muscles and back muscles and hip muscles some love. Okay, one more. Okay, and then come back to center. And then it's time to get off the roller. So carefully just slide off and roll it out from underneath you. And we'll just take a moment on our backs here to let ourselves settle. So I'm just going to set the roller aside for a moment. Good. And then let's go ahead and just bend your right knee and put your right ankle on top of your left thigh and pull your left leg in as much as you need to feel a little bit of a stretch in the back of the right hip. Okay. So I like to go up on my tippy toes, and that way I don't have to like reach through and flex to pull the leg in. And then we'll go ahead and switch legs. Just take a note if you've got a difference between sides. So later when we do mermaid on the mat at the end of class, this is your option to do instead of the mermaid if you feel like you're not comfortable in your knees laying on your leg, right? So this is what we call our figure 4 stretch. So we'll let that go, unwind, roll to the side, and come on up. So we'll take a moment to change altitude with care. And then we are going to go ahead and walk over to the front of our mat and do a little bit of standing work. We'll take the weights in our hands, okay? And our first project will be to do a lateral raise as we step back with one leg at a time. So I'm gonna raise our arms to the side, step back, see if you can land on your toes, and then step forward to where your legs are standing together on the front of your mat. And step back and forward and back and forward, back. Good. So we just keep moving with our breath. Perfect. And smiling. Very nice. One more on each side. And last one. Perfect job. So we'll just stand up for a moment and just do some shoulder rolls. Good. And then let's go ahead and step back with the right leg and raise both arms again. Good. And dumbbells are optional if you feel like they're too heavy right now. And we'll inhale and rotate, keeping your arms as extensions of your shoulders. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Good. One more time on each side. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center, and lower your arms and step forward. And we'll go directly to the other side. Step back with the left leg. Raise your arms. You're zipped up in your core. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Good. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. Inhale, rotate. Exhale, center. And arms down and step forward and roll your shoulders. Good. So let's go ahead and set our weights aside. And we'll place our right hand on the roller and stand with it slightly in front of us. We'll be shifting our weight to our right hip. So when you shift your weight over, make sure that the left side isn't dropping. Okay, so we want to be real solid in this shift. And then go ahead and bring your left leg up and extend and bend it 5 times, keeping your knee in the same place and space in your room. 3, 4, 5. Good. Now externally rotate and have your toes point out as you straighten your legs straight forward. Okay, 3 and 4 and 5. Good. And then take that leg back behind you and just give it a little stretch. So zip up from pubic bone to navel to sternum. And just feel that you're stretching in front of your hip for a moment. Take another breath, and then we'll step forward. Change hands on the roller, left hand on the roller. And again, when you shift over to the left, make sure that your right hip doesn't drop, okay? So you press really strongly into the left leg. Bring the right leg up and extend and bend it with your knee in the same place in space. So it's okay if your knee is lower, right? As long as it's not raising and lowering while you're doing this. Good. And 5, and then externally rotate at the hip joint. And when you press forward, you're pressing straight forward like before, but your toes are pointed out to the side. And 4, and 5, and then take that leg behind you, zip up your front line, and give it a lovely stretch. Very nice. One more breath here. Good. And then we'll go ahead and step forward. That was nice. So now we're going to do our impatient foot tapping today for our fall prevention. Okay, so what we just did was fall prevention for sure. I don't know if you can see my feet, but I'm going to step my right foot forward and just bear weight more on my left hip now. So the right knee can bend, and then lift up the toes of the right foot and just sort of tap the ground with the toes. Okay, so perhaps if I put my foot up here, you can see the action that's happening on the floor, right? So go ahead and just tap and tap and tap. Okay, so it doesn't take very long to feel the front shin muscles warming up. These are anterior tibialis, and this is a muscle that helps to stiffen the ankle if you begin to lose your balance forward. Okay, so it's a fall prevention muscle, and also for you runners, it's a shin splint prevention muscle. And that's pretty warm. So let's just change legs. So again, shift over to the right. Make sure that you're not swaying the left hip down. Step the left hip forward, and we'll do some more toe taps on the left. So simple, right? Sometimes things that are so simple are so beneficial. Good. And that's enough of that, right? We'll be moving into a side sit. And again, if you do not wish to go into mermaid in this position, you can go on your back and do the figure 4. And we have our shoulder down our back, legs are in a Z sit. Bring your other arm up, and then come on down to your forearm and come into a lovely side stretch. Take a breath there. Take another breath. And then as you exhale, press the floor away. Maybe come up to a little balance. Hold on to your opposite shin and bring your arm up and over for the counter stretch. And take a breath. And we'll come back to balance. Gracefully float down and move into your side stretch again. So you can stay here. And if you wish to go into rotation, you could breathe and open your heart toward the ceiling, and then exhale deeply. Gives your rib cage room to move, and then you can go ahead and rotate. If that feels like it's too much on your hip or your knee, then go onto your back. And keep breathing. So we'll take about 20 to 30 seconds here in this stretch. Just focus on your breathing. Feel how when you breathe, it actually assists the stretching that's going on. And see if you can start softening your eyes and jaw and separating your teeth. And just giving yourself a chance to take nice full breaths in and full exhales out. Let's take one more breath. Then we'll inhale to unwind. Exhale, come on up. Good, let's switch our legs around. Okay, so pull your shoulders down. Bring your arm up toward the ceiling. And then come on over into a lovely side stretch. And we'll take a couple of breaths here. And then press the floor away. Come up and balance for a moment. Hold on to your shin. Come into the counter stretch. Just breathe. And you come back through balance. Gracefully float down to your forearm. You can stay here and just enjoy the side stretch, or you can go into rotation, inhaling to open your heart. Exhale fully and deeply to carefully rotate your rib cage. And then you stay and breathe. See if we can soften our faces, soften your heart, deepen your breath. Thank your bodies for doing such a good job for you today. Nice that we can do a little something for our bodies with our Pilates practice, isn't it? One more breath. And we'll inhale to unwind. Exhale to come on up. Roll your shoulders back and keep your abs in and keep smiling until I see you again.